Oh, yeah. Am I audible? Hope I am audible now. Yeah, please respond in the chat, okay? Because I want to know whether my audio is clear or not. Oh, yeah. Am I audible? Hope I am audible now. Okay, thank you. So in between, if there is any disturbance in the audio, please respond in the chat, okay? So that the audio is clear to you, okay? So I make change settings. Okay, thank you, Varun. Yeah. So what we do is today we'll go with the March 15, 2025 TCS NQT coding exam questions. We'll try to solve some of the questions asked on March 15 shift 1 and shift 2. Okay, and this is the first question. Question number 1 asked is sum of integers in a range. Okay, so the problem statement is given like this. So given a range m comma n, both inclusive. Okay, so that means it should start at m and end at n. Okay, that is the meaning of inclusive. So both numbers are included in the range where 0 is less than or equal to m comma n is less than or equals to 10,000. So find the sum of all integers between m and n. So we need to calculate sum of all integers present between this m and n. So example, if you look at the example, given example, the input is given as 0 space 3. Okay, so this is the input given, the output given is 6. So the explanation is it should add all the numbers between 0 to 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, it gives the result as a 6. Okay, so this is what one of the questions given, pretty simple, and the question asked is given a range, you need to just calculate sum of the numbers between this range m and n. Okay, so how we can find this? Simple, you can start running a loop. Okay, then just go on adding the numbers between m and up to n. Okay, so this gives the sum. Okay, so it is pretty simple. In Python it is even no need to run the for loop also. Okay, in other languages you can use a for loop. Okay, so we'll try to define a function to find the sum. Okay, so let us write our main program here. So in the main code you need to first read two values. First one indicates m, second one indicates n. Okay, so to read two numbers at a time in Python, okay, so you can use map function here. Okay, so map, then say int of int comma, then input dot split. So here the input function reads this 0 3 as a string. Okay, so it reads this entire thing as a string. Then split function splits this, taking white space as the separator into two separate strings like 0 one string and 3 another string, and it returns a list here containing two strings. Okay, now this map function maps each element present in this list. Okay, so each element is now a string, maps into integer. Okay, and returns that two objects here. Those two we are collecting in two variables m and n. Okay, so m will contain the first number 0 and l will contain the second number 3. Okay, so this map function maps these two strings to integers. So that's why we'll get two integer numbers in this m and n. Okay, so what we do is we'll uh, directly call a function. Okay, so what is asked here, sum of integers between. Okay, so just you can call the function as a sum of integers, sum of integers. Okay, so then pass this m and n as arguments. So it calculates sum of integers between these two numbers and returns that, and that we are printing. When printed, it prints the result as a 6. This is your main code. Okay, so here we'll define the function called as a sum of integers, and the two arguments are m and n. Okay, so the first parameter is m, the second parameter is n. First parameter m, second parameter n. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to just calculate the sum of these. Okay, so in Python, what you can do is you can just use the range function to get all the numbers between the range. So how we can get that range function in Python? How we can use the range function? If you remember, just type in the chat. How we can use range function in Python? Given m and n. Okay, so that means, for example, m is given 0, n is given, so 0 to 3 you should generate all the numbers. Okay, so that means 0 1 2 3. Okay, so all these numbers must be generated, then only you can add. Okay, so for that we can use a function called as a range. Okay, so your starting is 0 and even the 3 should also be generated. Okay, so that means here instead of 0, sorry, m value is 0 now, so here we should take the starting value as a m here, starting value as m, and ending value as n plus 1. Okay, so this generates the range. If m and n values are 0 and 3, okay, so then it generates the numbers 0 1 2 3, it generates. Okay, so then just give this range of values to some function. Okay, so then it calculates the sum of all these numbers 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, so it calculates and it returns that value. Okay, so directly you'll say return. That's it. one line of code. Okay, so it returns the sum and that will be printed here. The sum value will be printed here. Okay, so it is pretty simple in Python, and in Java also some function is available in math module. Okay, so there also you can use this. There you need to use a for loop to generate these numbers. Okay, so but here you can use the range function. Got it? So let us quickly execute this, and we'll see whether it prints the correct output or not. Okay, so let us go to online Python compiler. So what we do is we define the array directly here. Okay, so with this kind of input I am taking here 2 comma 5. Okay, so then we'll print a unique element, unique underscore element. Then we'll pass the array. Okay, so it prints. Now we'll define the function unique element. Okay, so pass the array here. So what we need to do, we need to use two for loops for I in a range for length of the array. Then here we need to take a variable count, initialize it to 0. Okay, then again run a loop for j in a range. Okay, so length of the array. So here, see here, this length function we are calling two times. This length function we are calling two times. Okay, so if in the given constraints, not constraints, in the input itself, if the first line contains number of elements, n value you will get. Okay, but here since it is not there, instead of calling the length function two times here and here in the two loops, and this will be called for each element of outer loop and for each element of inner loop. Okay, so instead of that, what you can do is, the best way is you can run this length function only once. Okay, and you can store that in a variable. Okay, so what do you call it as? L. Okay, so L is equal to length of a array, or it is number of elements, no, you call it as n otherwise. Okay, so you can use capital N to indicate size of the array. Okay, so length of the array. Now here, instead of calling this two times, now you can use n here. So what happens here, the function will be called only once and we are using the variable. Okay, so the value of the variable will be substituted here. This is the best way of writing. Your code executes faster for large input size of the array. Okay, so this runs faster here. These kind of small tips you should use to make your code run faster, because the time allotted for execution of your code is limited. Okay, so your code should pass the time limit, right? So what we need to do, so we need to test here if array of I is equals to array of j, then you increment the count value. Count plus is equals to 1 will say. Okay, so once coming out from the inner loop, now if we get the count value equals to 1, okay, so then you directly return. That means we identified a unique element, so return array of I. Array of I is the unique element that we required. Okay, so run the code. Now you can see 5 present here. Okay, so 5 present somewhere in the middle. Then also it returns something like a 8 I am passing this time. Okay, so you can test here. Now see, you can see 8 printed. So once 8 identified, it won't check for remaining elements. Don't check for remaining elements. Okay, but if the element unique element is in the last position, okay, so the main drawback in this, let us understand the disadvantage of this approach. So the main drawback is the outer loop you are running, if size of the array is n. Okay, so you run the outer loop for n times. For each element you run the outer loop, and the inner loop also you are running for n number of times. Okay, so that means the two loops together runs n cross n times, n by n times. Okay, so that's why the complexity of this approach is order of n square, which is not a good algorithm, which is not a good approach. Okay, so you try to uh, identify the unique element with time complexity order of n time complexity, and also the space complexity with order of one space complexity. Okay, so for this it is order of n square time complexity, and it is not using any extra space here. This only one variable, okay, which is negligible. If you use another array, then we can say that it is taking additional space of n, okay, but it is not taking any additional space here. Okay, so we can say that the space complexity of this algorithm is order of 1, okay, but time complexity is order of n square, which is not suggestible. Okay, so order of n and order of 1 is suggestible. Okay, so another approach for this is instead of checking for each element. Okay, so second time what you can do is you can run the loop one time. This is your array 5 3 2 3 2. Okay, so you can run the loop one time and count the frequency of each element and store in a dictionary. Okay, so you can use a dictionary here, and inside the dictionary you can store as key value pairs, that means element and its frequency 1. Okay, element and its frequency 2 times, element and its frequency 2 times, like this. And now from the dictionary you just find out the element whose this is key and this is value. Okay, so whose value is equals to 1. Okay, then print its key, print the key. Okay, so that is the element, unique element we required. This is another approach. Okay, so let's define this, how we can find uh, use dictionary in the Python. Okay, so that we will test here instead of using the two for loops. So I'm directly defining the function here itself. Okay, so unique element, no, function name is unique element. We want unique element and we have array here. So what you can do is you can just define a dictionary which stores the frequency. Okay, so I call the dictionary as frequency. Okay, so then initially I create an empty dictionary like this, frequency is equal to. Okay, so now you run one loop to traverse the entire array. Okay, so I use a for loop here. Okay, so just you can say for num in a array, for num in a array. Okay, so then what you can do is, if this num in array means what num gets here, num gets one by one element. Okay, 5 it gets, next 3 it gets, 2 it gets, 3 it gets, 2 it gets, like this one by one element will be supplied to this variable num. Okay, so what I do is I check okay, so this is my frequency dictionary, this is my frequency dictionary initially. What I do is I check whether if the element is present in the dictionary or not. If it is already present, then I add one more count value to the value of this element. Okay, so how to test whether this element is already present in the dictionary or not? It is already present in the dictionary or not? Okay, so you can say that if num in frequency, if num in frequency. Okay, so that means if number, this num, that means 5 is already present in the frequency. Okay, so what I do is, that means it might have already been stored like this, 5 and 1. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to add one value to this, add one value to this key 5. Okay, so I should increment its value. If it is already present, then I can access this key. Okay, so I can access this key like something like frequency from the dictionary. How you can access frequency of num. Okay, so I am incrementing the frequency of num, frequency of 5. So frequency of 5, what I do is I add extra 1 here. Okay, so previously it might have been stored. So then what I do is I add extra 1 here. Okay, so I'll say plus is equals to 1. I'll add one more 1 here. Okay, in this case what happens we will see, then you can understand the code. So in our case, whether this 5 is in frequency dictionary, no. Okay, so then it comes to else part here. It comes to else part here. Okay, so that means this element is encountered first time. This element is encountered first time. Okay, so now you store this element with its frequency as a 1. Okay, so how you can store that element? You can store an element, create a new element in the dictionary like a frequency of a num. Okay, then say is equals to 1. So this statement what it does is frequency of 5. Okay, so it creates a key with 5 and value as a 1 it creates. Value as a 1 it creates. Got it? Okay, so then next num gets the next value, that is 3 it gets. Okay, so now num value gets 3 here. Okay, so then it checks num in frequency. Num is present in the frequency, no, then it comes to else. Frequency of 3 is equal to 1, so it creates one more key 3 and its value as a 1. Okay, so again it goes here, then num gets next element 2 it gets, then it checks if 2 in frequency, whether the key 2 is present in the frequency, no. Okay, so then it checks frequency of then it comes to else part, frequency of 2 is equal to 1, so it creates one more key 2 with frequency value or key value as a 1. Okay, then now you can see here, so next 3 comes to num here. Okay, so it checks now, just check out this, if num in frequency, see num, that means 3 already present in the frequency, yes. So if it is present, then it says that frequency of 3 is equal to frequency plus 1. Okay, so that means previous frequency value we are adding 1, so then it becomes a 2 here, it becomes a 2. Okay, so in a dictionary if you access with the key, it gives its value as a result. Okay, for example, if I say print frequency, okay, so frequency of 5 if I say, okay, so what it returns, it returns its associated value here. What is the value with 5? 1 it prints. If I say frequency of 3, then 2 it prints, like this. So you are accessing key and it returns the value associated with that key. That's what happens here. Okay, so next 2 comes to num, then it checks num in frequency, yes, 2 already there in the frequency, then its frequency value will be incremented. Okay, so that's it, the array ends here. Sorry. So once you come out from the for loop, okay, so that means you have traversed the entire array once and counted each element frequency and stored in the dictionary here. Okay, so this is our frequency dictionary we have stored here. Okay, so now what you need to do, you need to just check out for a key whose value is equals to 1. Okay, so that means each element of the dictionary you need to access, each element of the dictionary you need to access. Okay, so this is again outside of the for loop. Okay, so no problem, if you write one more for loop, it doesn't change the time complexity. Okay, so same, the time complexity will be order of n only. Okay, so what we can do is, now when you read elements from a dictionary, okay, so it will be read as a item. Okay, so now 5 comma 1 will be read as item. Okay, and this item contains two values, so it returns two values. One is called key and the second one is called value. These two values it returns. Okay, so to get these two values, how you can access for k comma v in frequency dot items. Okay, so to get all the items from the dictionary. Okay, so you have a method called as items in the dictionary class. Okay, so frequency dot items. Then what it returns? It returns these items 5 colon 1. This is one item. 3 colon 2. This is another item. 2 colon 2. This is another item. Okay, so one by one item it returns. Okay, it returns the two values k comma v. Okay, so k value will be 5 here and v value will be 1 here. Okay, key and value. Okay, so now you check here. If the v value is equals to 1, that is the unique element. That is the unique element. So what you can do is you can return okay, so you can return the k value. That is what the unique element we required. Okay, so that k value you can return here. That's it. This is our function. Got it? Voice is not audible. Not audible. What happened? Now is it audible? Can you just check out? Is it audible now? Say yes or no in the chat if I am audible. Varun, can you just reply in the chat? Voice, is it audible? Someone can reply in the chat if voice is audible or not. You will execute this code. Okay, so we go back to our online compiler. Okay, so what I do is I write one more function here. This time I define unique element. I keep everything this inside the comment. Right, let's define a function so which returns unique element inside the array using a dictionary. Okay, so for this we required a dictionary called frequency. We are storing a frequency of each element inside this dictionary, no? So empty dictionary will define here. Then run a loop here. Okay, so for num in a array, for each element in the array. Okay, so you check if it is this num is already in the frequency dictionary or not. Okay, so if num in a frequency, okay, so what you need to do, you need to increment its value. Okay, so frequency of a num, yes, you say plus equals to 1. Otherwise, if it is not present, then you create a new key called as a num. Okay, and initialize it to 1. You store its frequency as a 1. Okay, so that's it. So what you do, so you now you access the dictionary. Okay, so for key comma value in frequency, for key comma value inside the frequency. Okay, so then you want to get each key value pair, no? So you should use the method called as items, frequency dot items. So it returns the each item from the dictionary. Now you check its value. Okay, so if v is equals to 1, okay, so now you return the k value, which is unique element. Okay, so let's run this. Now you can see for this array it is returning the unique element as a 8 here. Okay, so if you change this 8 to somewhere here, even 5. Okay, so if you run this, now you can see 5 printed on the screen. It is printing unique element here. Okay, so this is using dictionary. So if you know Python very well, what you can do is you can still reduce the code here. You can use uh, this counter class. Okay, so there is a uh, built-in dictionary subclass, okay, called as a counter. That counter is implemented as a dictionary class. So we can implement that counter class and we can run the code. Yeah, this is the implementation using the dictionary. Whatever code we have written, okay, so the same code we typed here, okay, then if we run this code, now 5 is detected unique element and it is printing 5 here, okay. So if you give some other element, okay, so something like after this, if you give 11 as a unique element somewhere here, okay, so then if you run the code, let us see, now see unique element 11 returned here. So the more efficient way of using the dictionary, okay, here manually we created an empty dictionary, then we go on adding the elements into this frequency, okay, key value pairs we added into this frequency dictionary. Instead of that, okay, so if we can use the built-in counter dictionary, okay, so there is a dictionary class, built-in class called as a counter, which will take care of all the counting and creating key value pairs, okay. So the thing is you need to import that one, okay. So where is it present? From collections, package, okay. So module you import this counter. This is best way for even more complex problems. This is good to use, okay. So now instead of writing all these things, okay, running the for loop and everything, okay, so just you can just say that you can ask this counter, okay, and pass the array. That's it. Now the each element present in the array, it counts its frequency and stores in the dictionary, okay, and returns that dictionary, so that you store in a variable called as a counts, okay. So counts is our dictionary, okay. So that object is return dictionary. It counts the frequency of each element in the array. This is single line of code, see here, okay, and returns, okay. So just if you can uh, access each element, okay, so from the counts, okay, so it becomes easy. So what you can do is now you can run a for loop on dictionary called counts. So for key in counts, for key in counts, then you check. So what it does, it returns a key value from the counts, okay. So it returns the key values from the counts, okay. So then you test what is its associated value present, okay. So then if you can say that counts of a key, you can just say that counts of a key, if it is equals to 1, associated value is equals to 1, you can just return counts of a key here, okay. So key is the element, so you can just return key here. That's it, 3 lines of code here, okay. So no need of running the entire for loop here. This will take care here. So you can access counts the dictionary, okay, just like the dictionary which we created here, okay. So it checks counts of key, okay. Counts of key gives the value associated with this key. If it is equals to 1, that is the unique element. We are returning that key is the unique element that we return here and it will be printed here. So if you run this code, you can see 11 printed. Okay, so if you change this value, okay, so to something like a 100. Okay, now you run the code and see 100 printed. This is pretty simple. So using a built-in counter dictionary class. This counter is implemented as a built-in class for implementing the dictionary. So give array, it will take care counts and stores its frequency. Got it? So, but the problem with this approach is it is using an extra dictionary. Okay, so an extra dictionary it is using. No doubt it is running for entire array one time. So the complexity is order of n, time complexity order of n. Okay, but the space complexity, when it comes to space complexity, it is using an extra dictionary. Okay, so extra space it is consuming for size of a n array. Okay, so then almost if consumes, okay, approximately equal to n size of the array here. Okay, so that's why we'll say that the space complexity of this is order of n. Okay, so which is again is not advisable. So that's why what we need to do, we need to find out an algorithm which runs for order of n and should not consume an extra space. Okay, and the space complexity should be order of 1. Okay, so for such kind of approaches, okay, so these kind of problems have a best solution implemented with a XOR operation. Okay, so what is XOR operation here? How XOR operation is implemented? For example, A, B are two inputs, then A XOR B. Okay, so if these two are same, then A XOR B is 1. If the, sorry, it is 0, and if the inputs are different, it is 1. So 0 1 it is 1, for 1 1 it is 0. This is the property of XOR truth table. Okay, so that means if the inputs are same, then the result is 0. If the inputs are different, then the result is 1. Okay, now for our given problems, now see here 5 3 2 3 2. Okay, so if we implement XOR operation, now just you perform XOR operation of all these values present in the array. Okay, so what it gives, let us understand. Then what are the properties of XOR? For example, if A is a number, okay, so then the XOR of A on A, okay, so it will be 0. Similarly, the XOR on a 0 is equals to A. It gives the same number A. Okay, so let us take one example, 5 in binary. Okay, how it is represented? 101. Okay, so if you perform with 0 the XOR operation, what it results, just check here. Okay, so both are different, then result is 1, same result 0, different 1. So you got the result as 50101, which is nothing but the number itself. Okay, so XOR with some number 0, XOR with some A, it gives A only. 5 XOR with 0 gives the result as a 5. Okay, now if you see 5 XOR with 5, 101, 5 XOR with 5, so what, same 0. Okay, so same 0, then same 0, then it gives the result as a 0. You will get the result as 0. This property helps us in identifying the unique element. Okay, that means if the number is occurring a even number of times, if the number is occurring a even number of times, then its XOR operation becomes 0. Okay, so when you XOR this, the result becomes 0. When you XOR this, the result becomes 0. Okay, and when you XOR this with a 5, and finally you will get the result as a 5, which is nothing but the unique element. Yes or no? Okay, so let us quickly uh, work this. So 5 in binary is 101, 3 in binary is 011. Okay, 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so first I am performing XOR operation of these two numbers, these two numbers. Okay, so what it results, let us see. So same, then the result will be 0, different 1, different 1. You will get 1 1 0. Okay, so this is the result. Now you XOR this with a 2. So what is 2 here? 2 is nothing but 0 1 0. Okay, then perform XOR here. This is 0. Okay, same 0. This is different 1 0 0. You get result. Okay, now you XOR this with 3. So what is 3 here? It is 0 1 1. Okay, so then it is different 1, different 1 and different 1. Then you XOR this with a 2. Okay, so what is 2 here? It is 0 1 0. So when you XOR, this is different 1, same 0, and this is different 1. So final result 1 0 1, which is equals to 5. Okay, so now if you print this 5, that is nothing but the unique element. So these kind of problems can be best solved by using a XOR operation. Okay, so this XOR operation you can use only when all other elements appear twice, because XOR of same number is 0. It becomes, okay, if more than twice, if it appears again, this cannot be used, because when you perform XOR, okay, you are getting quite different number. Okay, so if all other numbers appears even number of times, okay, so even number of times, then this XOR operation can be applied, the technique can be applied. Okay, so let's write code for this. And so this is the XOR operation performed on the given array. Okay, so the same array elements, if you perform an XOR using XOR operation, then you can easily identify this. The advantage for this is, you need to traverse the entire array once, order of n complexity. Okay, so what is XOR? As I said, XOR operation. Okay, if A B are two inputs, A XOR B, what it gets, if the inputs are same, okay, so result will be 0. If the inputs are different, result will be 1. 0 1 also 1, for 1 1 it is 0. This is the property of a XOR truth table. This is XOR truth table. Okay, so the properties of XOR are, if A is a number, then A XORed with a 0. Okay, so then you will get the same number. And similarly, if A is a number, A XORed with A, then the result will be 0. Result will be 0. Okay, so let us consider an example 5 here, whose binary representation is 101. Okay, so if 5 XORed with 0, what we will get? 0 0 0. If we perform XOR operation 5 XOR with 0, then the result is, this is 1 0, different 1, you will get same 0, different. Okay, so what you got the answer, the same number you got, first property satisfied. Okay, then 5 XORed with the 5, what is the result you will get here? 5 XORed with the 5. So inputs same, 0 0 0. Okay, so then final result you will get as a 0. Okay, so you can use this property and perform XOR operation on all array elements. So your array elements are 5 3 2 3 2. Okay, so one by one uh, element will take and will XOR with other elements. Okay, initially we'll take 501, then we'll take 3 here. Okay, so 3 binary representation is 0 1 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3 here. Okay, so then we'll perform XOR operation here. So inputs are same, 0 different, 1 different, 1. Okay, then you XOR with a 2 here. So 0 1 0, this is 2, XOR it. Okay, so this is 0 same, 0, this is 1. So again perform XOR with the next 3, XOR with the 3. So what is 3 here? 0 1 1. Then what you will get here? This is different, different, different. 1 you will get. Okay, so then XOR with the 2 again. So 0 1 0. This is 2 value. Okay, so if you perform XOR, you will get 1 here, 1 1 same, 0 1 0 1. Okay, so now all elements completed here, then the final result is 5, which is nothing but the unique element in the array. If you print the final result, that's it. This property we can use XOR operation, we can perform, and it is applicable only when all other numbers appears twice or a even number of times. Okay, if they appear twice or even number of times, and there is only one element which is appearing once, then we can use this property. Remember, if such kind of question asked in examination, you can write the code using XOR operation. The advantage is you are traversing the entire array only once, then the time complexity is order of n, then it is not consuming any extra space. That means space complexity is order of 1, constant space complexity. Okay, so this is the best solution for this problem. Okay, so let us implement this, write a code for this. Okay, so how we can write a code for this? You can define the function. Okay, so unique element, code is also pretty simple, and pass the array. Okay, so you need to run the array, something like for num in a, okay, so array, you get each element from the array and perform the XOR operation. Okay, but initially with which element you need to uh, perform. So initially you take some variable called as a, okay, so unique element. Okay, so I call it as a unique element. Initially I take it as a 0. With 0 I start, then I perform. So if you perform a XOR with 0, you will get the same number. Okay, so I take one by one number from array and I perform XOR with 0, then you will get the same number, then you will get these XOR operations. Okay, so for num in array. Okay, so now you perform a XOR operation. Okay, so how you can perform XOR operation? Just you say unique. Okay, so is equals to unique number XOR. What is the symbol for XOR? This caret cap is called a XOR symbol, and num. Okay, so unique and num perform XOR operation on these two, that is war, and the result will store back in a unique. This result again will store back. Finally, in the unique, you will get this, that is nothing but the unique element. Okay, so this can be written in short form like this. You can write this in short form instead of writing this way. Okay, so in short form you can write this way. So unique caret equals to num. That means perform XOR with a num and store the result back in a unique. Okay, and finally what you need to return? You return this unique. That's it. Return this unique element, that is nothing but your unique element in the array. That's it. Just see here, 3 lines of code, most efficient for this problem. Okay, solution for this problem. So let us implement this in our online compiler. So this code also I keep in comment. Okay, so this is anyhow not required for this now. I'll just keep this inside the comments here. Okay, so here we define our new function for third approach. So unique element, then pass the array. Then we store a variable called as unique is equal to 0. Initially we'll take a variable called as unique 0, then we'll perform XOR. Okay, so we need to traverse array once for a num in a array. Okay, so then you'll perform XOR operation. Just say unique XOR XOR equals to num. That's it. Okay, so then return the num value. Num or unique. Unique is the unique element in this. Okay, so that's it. This is your efficient code. Now if you run what we are doing here, where is our main code? Okay, our main code also we kept inside this comments now. So I'll keep this outside and I'll paste this here. That's why nothing is printed here. Now you can see 100 is the unique element printed. Okay, so you can change this if you want a triple one, you can give here, and if you run the code, now it prints triple one. It prints triple one. Okay, so that is the unique element, and this is the most efficient way with order of n time complexity and constant space complexity, not consuming any extra space. You are not using any extra variable, whereas in other you are using extra dictionary here. Okay, so that means you are consuming additional space of nearly equal to n size. So this way uh, we can use XOR operation even. Okay, bitwise XOR operations we can use, and we can find the unique element. Whenever a kind of question like this is asked, find a unique element in the given list or array. Okay, so with even number of occurrences of all other elements, then the best approach is by using XOR operation. So friends, if you found this video useful, please like and share the video, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also turn on the bell icon for more such programming updates. If you have any query related to coding, TCS NQT questions, share your queries in the comments of this video. I will answer all your queries. So thank you one and all. In the next video, we will solve remaining questions of TCS NQT examination. Okay, so held on March 15th, 2025. Thank you one and all.